UFO sightings are on the rise. They are often distant lights in the sky, and it can be very difficult to accurately judge their size and shape. As with all things, there are those sightings that offer more mysterious craft that are not only clearly seen, but are also massive in size. Let's take a look at giant UFOs. Welcome to IF, videos on history, mystery and the strange. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video again. Sightings of anomalous flying objects vary wildly, and many different craft are seen, from triangular vessels to glowing orbs, craft which are small to those that have been reported to be the size of a football stadium, like the iconic scene from Independence Day when a giant saucer emerges from a cloud and destroys the White House. Huge UFOs could be a cause for concern. For those experiencing a sighting, the size of the craft can be directly comparable to the threat that it imposes. Huge unidentified flying objects have been seen for decades. One of the earliest sightings comes from 1956. The spotting of a massive unidentified flying object occurred in 1956, but the information was not released about the incident until 1959. This was when a Major Donald E. Kehoe, who was working with the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, heard the story from a Navy captain called James Taylor. The remarkable tale that he told was for the longest time kept out of the public eye. According to Taylor, in 1956 he had been aboard a Navy R-7V2 transport piloted by a Commander George Benton and co-piloted by a Lieutenant Peter W. Mooney. On a flight across the Atlantic towards a naval air station in Maryland in the US, along with other Navy men returning from duty abroad, several dozen crew members and around 30 airmen, pilots, navigators and flight engineers. On this evening, they were approaching a stop at Gander, Newfoundland, under reportedly clear and calm conditions with excellent visibility when a series of bizarre events would play out. The commander spoke of how he was peering out across the ocean. This is when he saw something strange hovering over the sea. It was what looked like a flock of orange lights. These strange lights hovered, not moving. The men, doubting their instruments, thought that they may be approaching land. A quick systems check showed that they were not. It turned out that the co-pilot could clearly see the strange aerial phenomena also. Both the airmen were in agreement that what they were seeing should not be there. They were so confused that they decided to wake the others, who happened to be sleeping in the cockpit. Moving at a good speed, the aircraft quickly caught up to the location of the strange lights. The commander decided to circle and make an attempt to identify what they were seeing. The lights then seemed to react to the presence of the aircraft and began to dim. Commander Kehoe said of the incident, "As we flew around the UFO, the illumination lessened. This was followed by the appearance of mysterious colored rings. These rings were not attached to the objects, but were being projected out." The pilot described what the airmen went through. "What the devil is it?" said Mooney, to which Benton muttered, "I don't know." They gassed the airplane's engines to full power and climbed away from the unidentified aerial phenomena. The objects followed them, and this is when they saw what appeared to be a giant disc. The saucer-shaped craft was massive, dwarfing the plane the men were in, the disc being over 116 feet in length and width, larger than the super constellation the men were flying. Benton gave the estimation of a size of around 400 feet in diameter. The mystery craft seemed to not pay attention to the airplane, almost hitting it as it approached and passed them at great speed. Kehoe went on to say, "Its sheer bulk was amazing. Its diameter was 3 to 4 times the constellation's wingspan, at least 30 feet thick at the center. It was like a gigantic disc inverted on top of another. Seen at this distance, the glow along the rim was blurred and uneven. Whether it was an electrical effect, a series of jet exhausts, or lights from the opening in the rim, Benton could not tell, but the glow was bright enough to show the disc's curving surface, giving a hint of a dull, reflecting metal. Though Benton saw no signs of life, he had a feeling they were being observed. Fighting an impulse to dive away, he held to a straight course. Gradually, the strange machine pulled ahead. Tilting its massive shape upward, it quickly accelerated and was lost against the stars. After the near miss, the men were duty-bound to radio control and tell them of the incident. Expecting to be ridiculed and mocked by the tower, the airmen were surprised when, contrary to their expectations, the tower confirmed that they had detected an object on their radar. Making their way back to the airfield and landing, the plane and its crew were met on the ground by Air Force intelligence officers. They were subjected to lengthy interviews, which were concluded with orders for the men to be silent and never tell of what they had encountered above the ocean. A little spooked by the incident and fearing court-martial, the men kept quiet until a week or so after, when Benton was approached by a scientist. The scientist gave the man pictures of the craft but didn't ask or give any extra information on the UFO sighting. A very odd and strange interaction, only adding to the mystery of what the airmen had been through. The UFO seen on that day was huge, but there have been larger. The famous sighting by Japanese pilot of Flight 1628 on November 17, 1986, involving a Japanese Boeing 747-200F cargo aircraft. Captain Torochi noticed two craft to his far left and some 2,000 feet below his altitude. He assumed that they were military aircraft as they were pacing his flight and speed. At 1718 or 1719, the two objects abruptly veered to a position about 500 feet or 1,000 feet in front of the aircraft and assumed a stacked configuration. They were massive, being bigger than the giant airplane. They appeared to be the same shape as a turtle shell, but they aren't the largest UFO said to have been seen. The largest UFO said to have been recorded was captured by NASA and observed exiting the Sun by their space telescope. NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory SOHO project is an orbiting observatory which allows the space agency to monitor our star, this providing a wealth of data of the activity that occurs on and around the solar surface. It was while recording the gaseous eruptions of the Sun's surface that the telescope captured an inexplicable image of a huge object. The NASA website featured a video of an angelic craft coming out of the Sun during a solar explosion. A still picture of the NASA footage shows much solar debris spewing from the Sun's right-hand side. Then, an unexpected anomaly is shown only for an instant, appearing on the star's left-hand side. The image is also inverted into a negative format using digital manipulation, with the strange object showing up black against the white of the Sun. The Sun is bright white due to its intense heat of around 5,500 Celsius. This points to another strange quality of the object. It's not transparent like other artifacts in the picture and video. It's dark and solid, which indicates that it is cool. So how could something cold be leaving a burning star with a temperature of over 5,000 degrees Celsius? And in a callback to the object spotted over the ocean by the pilot and his crew, one comment on the image said, "Dude, it's an upside down saucer, but that thing looks bigger than Jupiter. It's kind of like the shape of a stingray. Nice catch, that thing is huge." We are left to ask ourselves, what are these craft and why are they so massive? Are they motherships, a giant home that transverses the universe on the hunt for energy resources, or maybe planets to colonize? Are the smaller UFOs we see in our skies departing from these huge vessels? Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, if you like what I do here on the channel, hit that red button, like and share. You can catch the latest by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.